morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another round of GPVWC Sim Racing. My name is Matthew Chuggy Churgwin, and joining me to commentate on round 5 of the GPVWC Vodball Motorsport Formula Challenge is Mr. Philip Morby. So say good evening, sir.
Evening, one and all.
Yes, good evening, everyone. And on cameras, we have Mr. Cameron Brewster. Say hello, if you'd like to.
Hello, hello.
And we three of Merry and Tyne, I don't know, will be bringing you all the action from tonight's Turkish Grand Prix. This evening, we return to Asia for round 5 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge with a visit to Istanbul Park. Built in 2005, this is one of the newer circuits that we visit on our world tour, and with 14 turns over 5.3 kilometres of challenging tarmac, including the infamous quadruple apex turn 8, this will be a true test of our drivers' nerve and strategy. And with the weather looking to play its hand in today's events, it may shake things up well and truly in our championship chase. Dowie Tapper won both races when we were last here in 2013. Can our early championship leader Eric Strawn and his Ice Cold Racing team continue their early championship charge as we take to the circuit here in qualifying in what has already been mixed conditions, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at drivers, and some are pulling off the kind of skinny wing, which Hoekstra suddenly went 8 tenths quicker, but I see our favourite friend Eric Strawn is currently topped by just 0.003 of a second.
Indeed so. This is actually a very fast track compared to some of those we've been to so far. Only a couple of really slow speed corners, so definitely those who are willing to drive a little less wing will have the advantage here. And Strawn has currently taken P1 by, well, goodness me, 100,000th of a second. Very, very, very close between those two. But the pack is not far behind. So we're just in our final 90 seconds or so of qualifying. Everything to play for. The rain continues to fall. It is not wet enough for wet tyres at this point, but it's not exactly dry either. So we'll have to see who makes the best of these mixed conditions at this point in time.
We've actually also got two drivers, Scott Beresford and Lewis McGlade, 10th and 11th, that have done exactly the same time to the 1,000th of a second. They are both just half a second behind the guy at the top. In fact, the top 14 are covered by less than a second, and it's a 1 minute 40 lap, so not much in it.
Absolutely, and we've seen some fantastic close racing in the Formula Challenge so far this year. Looks like we're going to continue on with that, and it looks like qualifying is already showing that we're going to have a very, very close grid of cars. We currently have a good 40 or so drivers looking to go out and make their mark in qualifying. I think pretty much everyone is out at the moment trying to make the most of what is actually the conditions are actually getting ever so slightly worse at this point.
They are indeed, and Mike Bell and Ollie Pelkonen's just about to start a lap now, haven't even put a time in, so they are currently at the back of the grid and they're only going to get 1 lap. Oh, that's a lie, Pelkonen's just done a lap, but it was actually a 1 minute 55, so he's still at the back anyway, so this is his last lap.
So let's ride on board with Pelkonen if we can. He's currently in P39 with that. And Phil, do you want to talk us through the rest of the lap?
Yep, so we've just gone through turn 1, the left hand. We're going uphill with turn 2. Long right-hander is a blind braking point. Who's behind us could have caused a bit of issues. Rob Mason on our right. We're going into turn 3. And a little bit of gas as we go down into turn 4. A little bit wide. That rain's not really helping. So into turn 5 here. We have a quick kink of turn 6. And it's a kind of long straight down towards turn 7. We're going to see a lot of overtaking here during the race. Long right-hand hairpin up the hill. And then our famous quadruple apex turn 8. Get ready for this one. Nicknamed the Diabolica. We've got kind of 4 apexes. 1. Oh, he's had to back off. 2, 3. I think he's losing a lot of speed down this one. There's number 4. That's really not going to help his lap time. Downhill towards turn 9. Again, this is going to be another brilliant overtaking zone, and you need to get this one key because it's onto the back straight here. So, oh, he's gone wide again. It's not going to be a very good time around here. Through turn 10, up the hill, we go back down again to turn 11, which is flat out, and this is where you're going to be slipstreaming all the way towards turn 12, and probably I'd say the key overtaking point. So you'll slipstream up here, and it'll be calling to the left-hand side, ready for the heavy braking of turn 12. It's not much to go here. Oh, nice, that's a better corner. A little bit of gas into turn 13. And you've got the pit entry on our left, a little bit more gas, down another gear, into turn 14, and that is a lap of Istanbul Park. Now, is it going to bump him up the boards? It was a bit wide, yep, he's got up a few places to 35th.
Yeah, unfortunately, looks like the front of his car there's just a little lazy, perhaps in the wet conditions. As in fact, he has spun going down into turn one, perhaps just to get a little bit more airtime. Well, it's working for you there, Ollie. But yeah, it looks like the car wasn't quite working in these wet conditions. We'll have to see what the actual race brings. If it's going to be a nice dry surface for everyone, or perhaps not. We'll have to wait and see what the weather gods have for us. But that
Just a
has
comment,
concluded.
Mike Bell didn't actually do a lap.
Ah, well, he'll start from the back then. So that's that. So we have a qualification order. We'll run through the full grid when we get to our races, but our top five are Eric Strahan, Wookie Hoekstra, Robert Weisenmuller, Andrew Waring, and Jesper Nielsen, rounding out the top five, all within 2.5 tenths of each other. So very, very close between the top five. And as we were sort of saying earlier, in fact, our top 15 is separated by just over a second, so very close up the sharp end of the grid. So plenty of action to be had, I am sure. Now, we're just rotating into our quick warm-up session here, just before our first race. And it's been interesting so far this year, Phil. The weather has played its hand in the last 3 races. And it really has shown, well, first of all, it's given us some great racing. I think that's fair to say. But it's been interesting to see how different drivers have set their cars up to try and capitalise on perhaps areas of the track where downforce will give them the advantage. Likewise, those who have gone for skinny wings on the faster tracks. This track certainly will suit those drivers with a skinnier wing. But with weather in prospect, do you think it perhaps be wise just to bolt on a little bit of extra downforce and perhaps bring things back to a higher wing configuration?
Well, we saw that with Hoekstra. He was probably one of the fastest people during the week in practice. And in that session, when it was raining heavy at the start of the session, he wasn't really getting the chance to put the lap times in. Excuse me. And then right near the end then, he suddenly went out of nowhere 0.8 of a second quicker than everybody else just before we came on air. And Strahan also doing the same. So whether Strahan's going for a similar setup remains to be seen.
It's going to be an interesting one. The track is currently dry, so it's now very different conditions between our qualification and the race now. So who knows? Those who've gone for a wet setup and praying perhaps for a wet race may find themselves a little short-changed. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this will be a race of strategy. We're not expecting any pit stops, and we don't think the wear will be too bad. But you never know. A little gamble on a tyre choice here or there may prove pivotal. We saw, and I go back to it yet again, Petter Burlak last year in Monza. He went with a dry tyre in wet conditions and romped through to a win. So we'll have to see if anyone's willing to roll the dice here tonight as well, an opportunity to get some good points on the board.
Indeed it is. Just to comment on Mike Bell there, his lap, he went slightly wide at turn 1, but it looked like he was going to be fine. And then, sadly, his game minimised, which explains why he was unable to set a lap time, which is a shame for him. But, you know, starting from the back of the grid, we could take a few risks. We've been commenting, actually, before we came on air, it wasn't raining hard enough for wets. Whether it will during the race, or whether somebody at that position, you kind of want to take a risk. It'll be interesting to see if anybody does that.
Yeah, and the other point to make, actually, and we saw this in WSS last week, turn 1 isn't particularly an overtaking opportunity off the start of the race. If anything, it's more of a pinch point. And you can find yourself all of a sudden being swarmed by cars. So actually, being at the back of the grid, you might avoid a drama here or there, and you might be able to gain some positions that way. So you never know, it might work out. That's the thing with, of course, motor racing. What all you can guarantee is the fact that it's going to be unpredictable. So we'll have to wait and see what happens off the start here. And of course, then the run through 2, 3, 4, all very tight and twisty stuff. So plenty of opportunity to get a cheeky overtake in, or potentially lose a front wing, which can be disastrous, as we've seen many times.
Indeed, also there's a lot of runoff. Quite a lot of runoff, actually, in the main corners, and it's all tarmac runoff as well. So if you do run wide, you have to be careful coming back on the grid, but you can get away with not losing as much time as other places. Say Melbourne, for example.
That's true. No walls.
So close.
Yeah, very true. Very, very few walls. Our next circuit on the calendar will definitely be the absolute counter to that, but we'll get to that once we've done racing here. Thank you very much. But no, as you say, plenty of runoff. That is one of the features of the newer generation of race circuit these days. However, plenty of nasty anti-cuts to catch drivers who push the limit. And also, actually, some of the curbs, they can really grab the bottom of the car and make you understeer and go completely off where you don't want to. Well, we'll have to wait and see who's got their cars running particularly low to the ground, who have to be careful making use of those curbs. So, we are still in warm-up. We'll have a few more moments of warm-up, a few more minutes of warm-up to go. Bill, so far, we're on our 5th round here. We've got two 15-lap races, and it's been fair to say, unfortunately, there has been the odd knock here and there, and that was true of last round, isn't it?
Yes, it was slightly true of last round. We usually, during warm-up, talk about the penalties given out in the previous races. Portuguese Grand Prix, obviously 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of avoidable contact. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 or 12 people who will be having various grid penalties, usually about 10 slots. I'm just seeing if there's anybody high up. Hoekstra's not on there, Strahn's not on there. So they should be okay to start on the front row. I can't really remember who else was up high. If I run through the names, I've got 10 slot grid penalties. Yari Pasha, Balint Hammer. Oh, and it's just started raining as I hear it. Eduard Batala, Adam Wright, Justinas Rebelez, Andreas Walters, James Kirk, Tamu Cabrera, who I don't think is actually here, and Victor Silva, who I also don't think is here. And then there was just a few warnings to Ilja Bacalo, Mike Schroten, Thomas Jacobs, and then Joel Pereira has got a 20 grid slot penalty for escaping to pits and returning to track during qualifying. Woo!
Yeah, so the DC have been busy, and of course all those penalties we served at the first event that these drivers are in. So for those who aren't here, they'll have to deal with that next time they're in the Formula Challenge. So yeah, plenty of work done by the DC there, and hopefully we'll have some cleaner racing this evening. Plenty of runoff, as we said. The road is actually pretty wide as well, so plenty of space to take advantage of. One thing I'll mention while we're here in warm-ups, though, is Twitter. If you have anything you want to tweet in, the race predictions, questions, whatever you like, we are on Twitter, as many are. We are at GPVWC Live. Use that in the hashtag GPVWC to get our attention mid-broadcast. I believe it's also on the overlay tonight as well, so feel free to tweet in and get involved, and perhaps have some questions being answered or whatever may be in the interval between races 1 and 2. As normal, we have 2 races for you this evening, both 15 laps. And we're looking to be moving on very shortly. We just have 4 minutes now of our warm-up session to go. As a few drivers are just having a few moments there together. And yes, we'll have to wait and see what happens in reality off the start and who can make hay while the sun shines. We'll get that one in there nice and early. There we are.
I think we should address the elephant in the room between me and you, Chuggy.
What's that?
And that is Istanbul as a circuit.
Yes.
Now, for those that don't know me, my taste in racetracks are very, I think, odd is the nice way of saying. I love South Korea and I love Istanbul.
Yes, and as you've just said, your taste in circuits are odd. Now, to be fair, having driven Turkey last week in the WSS, I really rather enjoyed it. It was good fun in those cars. But personally, Turkey doesn't quite do anything for me. You know, it's not a Montreal or a Spa or anything like that where it's a very unique challenge. It feels a bit bland to me.
I think if you compare it again, okay, let's compare it against all new racetracks. So I'm looking at Bahrain, Valencia. I think apart from the Circuit of Americas, I'd say it's one of the better ones recently.
I would not disagree with you there. I'm
thinking of Abu Dhabi. I'm trying to think of other new circuits. I think, Circuit of Americas, I think we can all agree, is probably the best new racetrack. Russia, it kind of worked, but in Formula 1 last season, but they were too conservative on the tyres. That could be good. But yeah, I miss Istanbul from the calendar. I think it's one of the, as you say, it's technically in Asia. It's a wonderful country, wonderful city. It's a shame we don't go here anymore.
It is indeed. And I must admit, as I see our cameraman's being most active on Twitter, thank you very much, sir. Yes, I must admit, of the newer generation of tracks, this is definitely one of my more favourite of that list. Of course, you could go into all the finer points of what makes a racetrack great or whatever else. But I think fundamentally, what is important is the track gives good racing, and Turkey, to be fair, has definitely done that. So yes, we will hope. We certainly had some good racing in WSS. I'm sure the same can be said of Formula Challenge, and well, the grid is very close here this evening, and that I'm sure is going to make the racing good this evening. So I'm sure we're going to be in for a treat.
I think the other thing about racetracks, they need to have a corner or a section that you remember. So Circuit of Americas have got a bit of everything. But when you look at like Bahrain, there's no kind of corner or corners you go, that's brilliant. And yet every time we talk about Istanbul, it is turn 8.
Yes, indeed. It is a unique corner. It's a very challenging corner, and it's certainly going to be one which will test our drivers this evening. Speaking of driver tests, Mad Kate Racing Team on Twitter, their driver Lars Brugman, who won in superb fashion in race 1 last time out in Portimao for the Portuguese Grand Prix. He's going to have to fight his way through the pack tonight, say Mad Kate Racing Team on Twitter. And yes, indeed, he will. But Lars, very quick in practice, so I'm sure he'll be able to make his way up the order. I think he was one of the ones who's actually been running a little less wing so far this year, so I'm sure if it's dry, he'll be able to engineer his way forward. As I believe we are almost ready now to migrate into the race. Just got a final couple seconds of warm-up to go. Drivers wishing everyone good luck and to have fun. As everyone is getting themselves prepared for the race, Phil, anyone you'd suggest our lovely viewers to keep an eye on through the course of this race?
I mean, with all those penalties, I don't really know where half the grid's going to start. We know that the front row is sorted, at least, Strahn and Quickstra. I think it's going to be interesting for them if it's raining. I mean, like I said, at the start of the session, they were kind of in the top 10, but not too high up. And when it got a bit drier, they were able to really put the foot to the floor and get the power down. But if it's like the conditions are right now in the race, I think they're going to struggle. So I think it'll be interesting to watch people behind them and see if their kind of high downfall setup suit them more.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I would say keep an eye on Lars Brugman. If you wanted someone to keep an eye on, he's very, very quick driver, very, very fair. And I'm sure he will make his way through the field nicely. But yes, as you say, I think it really will depend on the weather, who's played the card well in terms of having the right amount of downforce on the car. But if it's dry, of course, you may see drivers just drive off into the distance. We will find out in a few moments as the grid is now being formed. We will have our grid momentarily, and then we'll hear, of course, Mr. R Factor Man, and we will be on our way to race 1. So, just waiting for our race director this evening, Mr. Chris. Thank you very much, Chris, for doing race directing as always this evening.
Pointing out, I think we've got a full grid of 40 cars.
We do. A busy evening for us here, I am sure. Plenty to keep an eye on. So yes, we are just preparing now, literally, to migrate across. Just a few drivers completing their very last laps here, as off we go.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
So as our Factor Man, it's not raining. Our Factor Man has rung out, and he has brought dry weather and a dry racing surface, which I'm sure some drivers are going to absolutely adore. So we'll have to see if some drivers are able to convert the dry conditions into race wins. We will wait and see. So as our grid now forms up.
It's a bit of good news for Mike Bell. He's not actually starting on the back road due to those penalties.
Oh, well, there you are.
So
there you are. Every cloud in its silver lining. Or, well, not clouds now, as they've all seemed to have fluttered away. There you are. Yes, we are on our way. Our grid has been formed, and let's talk you through our grid for this evening. So starting on pole position for Ice Cold Racing is Eric Strahn. He will be followed by Whoopke Hoekstra in the Epic, the Epic racing car, and Robert Weisenmuller for Mad Kate Racing Team will be starting in P3. P4 will be Andrew Waring for Centurion Grand Prix, with the second Ice Cold Racing car of Jesper Nielsen starting in P5. Tobias Olsen for Bastavik Grand Prix will be starting in P6, with Hansko Bevius in P7 for Cosmo, with Scott Beresford for Racing Team Schroten starting in P8. Rasmus Salo, one to watch I think as well, he'll be starting in P9 for Bastavik Grand Prix, with Lewis Blade rounding out the top 10 for Kyala Racing.
It's Mike Schroten for Epic Racing in 11th, with Bench Penick right behind him for Team Proline in 12th. Bruno Sousa Ferreira in 13th for Scuderia Brasilia, with Marcos Riffel for Centurion Grand Prix in 14th. Patrick Vandermeer for Cosmo Autosport in 15th. Tommy Ajala for Racing Team Schroten down in 16th. And then we've got the two Drake Racings of James Kirk and Philip Koenig in 17th and 18th. And Lars Brugman for Mad Kate Racing Team in 19th. And it's Thomas Jacobs in 20th for Dogecoin Racing.
Johan Lindberg for YTF1 will be starting in P21 this evening. He will be followed by Ari Niemanen for Kyala Racing in P22. Timo Valkajavi will be driving the second YTF1 car this evening. He'll be starting in P23. Morten Wernersen for Viking Racing leads the Viking Racing pair. He'll be starting in P24 with his teammate Edward Batala in the second Viking Racing car starting P25. Rob Mason for Downforce iZone Racing will be starting in P26 with Jaden Wright, who hasn't actually taken to the grid. He may be starting from the pit lane for triple 20. And in fact, here he goes. He's just pulling out of his garage now. Anyway, P28 will be Ballon Hammer for Team Proline. Ben Willis will be starting in P29 for Zedric Racing. And rounding out the top 30 will be Dennis Mitchell, Deltec Racing.
The Arrow International Racing of Sam Jones in 31st, with Adam Osger for Deltec Racing Team in 32nd, Arjun Zilstra for Triple 20 in 33rd, Ben Warren, the other Dogecoin racing guy, is in 34th, and Simon Smith, Backmarker Brigade, in 35th, not at the back, Ollie Pelkinen for Katana Motorsports in 36th, Andreas Pestovs in 37th for Zedric Racing, Mike Bell in 38th for Arrow International Racing, and it's the back row of Andreas Walters for Backmarker Brigade and Jerry Brupasha for Scuderia Basilia.
There we are. Our grid is now forming. A very slow last sector. Our leaders have actually been in place for a little while now. We've just got our final car rounding the final bend. Plenty of tyre warming up being done by our leading group here as they now sit on the grid, waiting for everyone to take their positions. I think that might be James Kirk out of position. Yes, it is. He must have spun on the formation lap, so he's just coming back through the field looking for his grid slot, which he's now doing. So everyone just waiting for him to get back into position. Or has he DC'd? Oh no, I think that was just a bit of lag. As the lights are now on, engines rise. We are racing. Good start all round. No major movement off the start as we now run down into turn one, a pinch corner. Looks like everyone being nice and sensible. Strahn's run a little bit wide, and Hoekstra immediately takes the advantage of Epic. He takes the lead, and now Strahn under attack now from Andrew Waring in the Centurion Grand Prix cars as they run down towards 3. Got Weisenmuller just behind having a look, getting a little bit leery on power as they then make the run down towards 4. No real movement going on there, but it looks like a good solid start. Not too much drama through the pack.
Yeah, I'm just looking for any accident. Oh, Nielsen there, Nieneman, sorry, back of Riffel there, but it looks like everyone's going okay so far. I'm just going to scroll down. Yeah, it looks like everyone's okay.
Excellent stuff. So we, after one sector, have Hoekstra in the lead. He's got the perfect start as we're now running down towards turn 8 for the first time with Strahn in hot pursuit. And then we have Weisenmuller and Waring. Weisenmuller right on the back of the Centurion car. Can he affect anything down into turn 9 for P3? Not this time around. Waring very late on the brakes. Little lock up there through 9. All nicely through 10. And here comes the big slipstreaming opportunity. Strahn for P1 is right on the gearbox of Hoekstra, trying to go the long way round. Turn 11. Not really much of an opportunity here, but everyone's line astern. We've got 2 by 2 for the leading positions. Who's going to be latest on the brakes?
Mike Bell's up the order, already up to 29th, so he's on the move.
Good stuff from Bell. Hoekstra holds the inside just about, but he's lost out. Strahn played the last sector to a T. So Strahn retakes the lead as we complete lap 1 of 15. Hoekstra follows him from Waring from Weisenmuller.
Seeing who the movers are at the moment. Sarlo up to 5th. You said he'll be doing quite well. He's just behind that pack of 4. We really are close together.
It is. Everyone, there's not much of a field spread at this point. Sarlo, he's got up to a good start earlier on in the championship in Melbourne. He was the one to watch. He had just enough top speed spread. Strahn overtaking him, and by the looks of it, he's made good use of that here. Other movers and shakers, Ben Supenik, he's moved up to P9. And other than that, I'm just looking for the Mad Cape of Lars Brugman. He's also made a good start. He's up into P14 and challenging for P13 down into turn 7. Ooh, it's going to be a risky one if he can go all the way around the outside. Yes, he can. Super stuff there.
So James Kirk and Yen Wright are out. They were lagging quite a lot. Pelkinen had to go for a pit. I think that's for a new front wing. I've just seen Ajala go round, I think, on his own. Oh, it's a big accident, actually. He had his front wing and somebody's rear wings come off, I think. Yeah, quite a big accident. Who else is in that? Ooh, I can't quite tell, but about 2 or 3 or 4 cars. There'll be definitely some people going in for damage there.
Here we go. Sorry to speak over you, but action for P2, Hoekstra and Weisenmuller, all up in the slipstream of one another. Hoekstra lost the place to Waring, but slipstream effect has guaranteed that one. Here we go. So we've got Weisenmuller up on the inside for 13. You can't really do anything there. Hoekstra defending the line nicely through 14. Covers that one off just about. This is music to the ears of Eric Strahn. However, he's in the lead. He's slowly building the gap. The The gap between himself and Hoekstra now 0.7 of a second, as that was the fastest lap of the race so far on lap 2 for Eric Strawn. So good stuff from him. Now he just has to keep his eye or his head down, putting in those quick laps, trying to build the gap and make the ones behind him ask the question of how on earth they're going to catch him up.
We got Ajala in the pits. Yeah, I think he's lost the front wing in that crash. I think, it's Venuson's got some, Morton Venuson Viking Racing has got a lot of damage. I don't think he's going to continue like that. And I think Pelkonen was in the pits earlier, actually.
Yep, so we've got a nice little three-way fight here going on for P2, P3 and P4, which I'm just keeping an eye on. Weisenmuller currently in the middle of that. He's on the third step of the podium, as it would be at this point in time. Hoekstra going through turn 8, just taking normal line. No real opportunity to overtake here, but the critical part is now this run down towards turn 9. It looks like Waring in P4 has had a good run on Weisenmuller. Can he do anything there? Not quite this time around, but here comes the major opportunity. They've all navigated turn 9 and 10 very nicely. Here comes the slipstream effect. It will start to become quite apparent as we should now keep an eye on. Look at this, Weisenmuller really motoring onto the back of Hoekstra. This is purely aero effect. Interestingly, Waring not being able to follow on. But nothing on this time around.
Chupenik and Olsen in 8th and 9th also fighting each other. And Olsen trying to get...
Waring round. Oh, dear goodness me. He's dropping down the order. He's now in P7, P8, P9, P10. That's unfortunate. Just caught out there by the difference in speed between himself and Weisenmuller. Through the very slow selection at the end there. Eric Strawn setting another fastest lap of the race, and unfortunately it just sent him around, so he's dropped all the way from 4th to 11th, but still plenty of time to recover positions. He's now right on the gearbox of 10th place Hansko Mebius in the Cosmo car, and Lars Brugman for Madcape. He continues to motor his way up the order. He's up to P9, so he's having a good recovery from a poor qualifying session.
Starlock the 4th doing really nicely. Let's see what teams are doing really well. I'm trying to see what's... We've got Madcape in 3rd and 9th. And what else we got? Where's the other ice cold guy? Nielsen's just outside the points in 16th, actually, with his teammate currently in the lead.
So, potentially lots of good, helpful team points for the Constructors' Championship being gathered at this early stage. And it's interesting because Hoekstra and Weisenmuller, they are, I would say, almost equally paced across the whole lap, but they have different areas of advantage almost, as it were. Weisenmuller clearly got a little bit more downforce, I want to say, going through some of the mid-speed corners, but Hoekstra just able to pull away on the straights. But Weisenmuller lovely through turns 9 and turn 10. I think we're going to have a move on here as we run through 11 down towards 12. Hoekstra going to have to defend. He's going to put it in the middle of the road. He's going to make Weisenmuller make the decision. Where are you going to go? Well, Hoekstra has gone to the racing line. Weisenmuller, a little look. Good racing room left. Hoekstra can cover this one if he gets the exit through 13. Not quite. Lovely move there from Weisenmuller. Good driving between these two. Nice and respectful. Lovely move executed there. So Weisenmuller for Madcape up to P2. He's got a 1.4 second gap now to try and make up to Eric Strawn, who continues to motor his way onwards. We're on lap 5 of 50.
Schroten, Brugman trying to go for the inside of turn 1, but he's going to shut the door. And Schroten knows. Now Schroten's got the inside of turn 2, but it's the left hand of turn 3, which is going to be the blind braking point. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers through this one? They've been fighting for the last few corners, actually. Schroten's going to try to hang it on the outside. Hello, Waring's come out of nowhere. Well, that's a bit cheeky, but he got it done just about.
And who's been doing a rain dance? Because it's starting to rain. Who's going to be pleased with a little rain dance here or there? We'll have to find out in our hopeful post-race interviews after the second race. We shall wait and see. As track's now getting wetter at 6% of wetness as a factor. Other drivers to mention, Rasmus Salo's continued to have a good race so far. He is up to P4. Scott Beresford, though, in P5 in hot pursuit. Those two are running through the exit of turn 8 down towards 9 now. Just got to return our attention, though, back to P2, because Weisenmuller's had a bit of a poor exit there through 10, and Hoekstra has taken the advantage.
He went deep through turn 9 and 10 there and just couldn't get the power down, and Hoekstra just hooked it up nicely, but is Robert going to look at coming back? He's thinking about it. Yep,
space
slightly
left.
later on the brakes.
Yep, space left. Nicely done on the brakes. Can Whoopke come back at him? No, he can't. Weisenmuller covers the line. Lovely stuff. So he's able to hold on to that one just about. But as we were saying before, turn 9, turn 10, probably the most important corners on the whole race circuit because it can leave you vulnerable or allow you the opportunity to pull off a slick pass.
Just looking who's got the last point position. It's currently Bruno Sousa Ferreira in 15th, but right behind him is Marcus Riffel, less than a second that gap. In fact, it is, through the timings, it is 0.4 of a second. So not far for Riffel to go to try and get a point.
Sorry to speak over you here, but we've got a lovely little battle going on here for P6, 7 and 8. We have currently leading that Tobias Olsen for Vastovic, Ben Supenik, who's had several great races in recent time in P7, and Lars Brugman, the hard-charging Mad Cape driver, in P8. These three all scrapping nicely, and we have a couple cars right behind this one as well. Supenik, lovely exit there through turn 6. Can he get anything done down into 7? Ooh, later on the brakes. Can he complete it? Not round the outside. Lovely switchback. Can he get the power down? Ooh, big tank slapper on the wet surface there. And unfortunately, what was a lovely move is now going to backfire as Brugman takes the advantage up into turn 8. No way that through on that one as they run through the exit of turn 8. Running now down towards 9. So Supenik a little bit unlucky there.
Deep again. Wiesenmuller in second place has gone deep through turn 10 again. And Hoekstra is going to hook it up. Get inside for turn 11, but then Wiesenmuller's surely going to come back with slipstream.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll get a little bit of a side aero effect as Hoekstra defensive straight away. Can Wiesenmuller do it on the brakes? Oh, just about the door closed from Hoekstra going, no, thank you, I've learned that trick, thank you very much. And I want to say that that one has been pretty much signed, sealed and delivered for now. No real opportunity to pass through 14 there, so Hoekstra retakes second place. Eric Strawn continues to build the gap. It's now up to 2 seconds between himself and Hoekstra. So Strawn putting himself in a very strong position in this early phase of the race.
Pelkonen's back in the pits again. He's a lap down and has gone into the pits, so must have something. Oh, and he's actually spun it, leaving the pit lane.
Oh dear, that's unfortunate. Bad to worse there for Pelkonen, but I'm sure he'll be able to get back going before too long. Brugman, the hard charger, he's having a great race from 19th on the grid. He's up to P6, doing a lovely job there for the Mad Cape team. He's currently fighting Tobias Olsen as these two are running through turn 5 and 6. Big little slide there on power application. Is that going to make him vulnerable down into 7? Olsen having a look. He's going to try on the racing line.
Oh, Schroten's hit the back of Jupenik. How he's going to lose to Mebius there and down to 11th. But yeah, way too late on the brakes there. But I think Jupenik's okay, and I think Schroten is as well, actually. I think he's still got a front wing just about, yes.
Never know, might just be a little bit of suspension damage or something here or there, just not what you want. But anyway, thankfully everyone's still pointing in the right direction as they run through turn 8. Got a nice little train in here, the nice little battle for the midfield points. We're slowly starting to get a bit of field spread as we're on lap 7 of 15 between our leading group, all first to 5th, approximately 8 or so, or beg your pardon, 5 or so seconds apart, as we've actually got a lovely little scrap here for P4 and P5. Rasmus Sarlo up the inside for 12 against Scott Beresford. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. Covers the line. I think Scott's going to have to try and look at doing something a little bit different here if he wants to try and get past Rasmus. No, he's been very quick in a straight line, so we'll have to see what Scott can do as they run out of 14. Scott immediately going over onto the wet side of the track. Perhaps is that just to unsettle Sarlo? Perhaps cause a little mistake as they break down into turn 1. A very tricky blind downhill left-hander. Very unforgiving curbs on exit, but Sarlo not falling for any of those tricks at this phase. They remain P4 and P5.
Jupenik up to 8, past Mebius.
Looks like Jupenik recovering after a little touch. Mebius still hanging on around turn 4 though. Or beg your pardon, turn 3. And he will get that stopped. Oh, dear. Got to be careful, got to leave it a space, as Juan Fernando Alonso used to say. And Mebius trying the cut back. We've got a hard-charging Schroten now trying to get in on the back of this, but Zupanik just about holding on to that one for P8. We're now down towards 7. Can Mebius defend from Schroten for 9? Yes, he can. Just about. I think they'll be line astern like that as they run through turn 8. No real overtaking opportunity.
I want to watch Jupenik through turn 8 here, because I think twice I've seen him go wide through this corner. Right at the end, he kind of just keeps the power in. Is he going to be able to do it this time? No, it looks okay. Ooh, yeah, it's about okay this time.
It's a tricky corner there because I'd say, for my money, I think he was on the power a little bit early, which just gave him a little bit more understeer on exit there. But that's the way these things go. We've got a slow-moving Tobias Olsen. He was well off the track as he was just running through there. So I don't know quite what happened to him, but a little drama there. As we've just heard that, yes, indeed, thank you very much to who was that on the Twitters, keeping an eye on the fastest laps. And the hard chargers. Yes, the boss of Epic, in fact. There we are. Whoopke Hoekstra is on the charge, and yes, indeed, good spot from that ban.
Olsen
Hoekstra, now he's not fighting Weisenmuller. He's been able to get the gap down from 2 seconds to 0.8 of a second last time around, so perhaps the mixed conditions suiting Whoopke here. So good stuff. This one is far from over. We
just
will
to
keep
comment
you
that
updated.
Olsen worked through turn 9, kept going a bit left as he wanted to take the right hand of turn 10 and went wide. That's why he lost a few places there and a bit of time.
Oh dear, that's a drama for him, but it's not all over. There's still plenty of racing to be done, and let's of course remember we have our second race this evening with a reverse grid, so you never know what will happen in those races. Anyway, now everyone's settled themselves down. Goodness me, Hoekstra is on the march, taking just a casual half second out of Eric Strahan through turn 1. So this one's going to be interesting to keep an eye on as they run through turn 8. Not hugely different lines or different lines between the two, but you can visibly see Hoekstra is so much quicker than Strahan running through turn 8. And look at this, he's right on the back of Strahan down into turn 9. No opportunity here, just folks are getting a really good exit and getting on the power nice and early. Hoekstra has done that to a T in these mixed conditions. Here comes Whoopke Hoekstra from second place. He's having a look up the inside through 11, space left from Strahan. And what you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is downforce in effect. A little bit more wing, I want to say, on Eric Strahan is really hurting him here, but he can go later on the brakes. Here he comes on the brakes, down through 12. Covers that one off nicely. Hoekstra, no option but to tuck back in behind as they run through 13 and 14. If these two continue to scrap, that might give Weisenmuller the opportunity to catch back up. This gap has just become a 3/10 gap over the course of one lap. This one is going to be a good one to watch, I assure you.
So I'm watching 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th. Patrick Vandermüller and Nielsen, 13th and 12th are side by side going through turn 1. The Cosmos are really kind of having a go at Andrew Waring in 10th, and then Nielsen turned up when actually I want to get involved as well, and he's got the inside for turn 2, and he'll be getting the slipstream off Patrick's teammate here, so I think he's up to 12th okay. Yes, he's done it.
Lovely stuff. Good move done there. No change at this point between our leading pair, but Weisenmuller, he's actually dropped a few tenths in that first sector, but he was keeping pace, it would appear, last time around. So if these two, being Strahan and Hoekstra, continue to scrap, you never know, he might have a chance of mixing it as well. But as Hoekstra and Strahan have run through turn 8, again, Hoekstra, just look at the difference in speed, just a much better line through 8, a little less wing as well. As, Strahan, big moment on power, really vulnerable now as we run down towards turn 11. Hoekstra is alongside, he's ahead, down into 11. Now, can he get himself ahead and defend into 12? Strahan's going to have a difficult job to do anything now. Hoekstra taking to the racing line. It's wet, it's misty, it's murky, and it's side by side down into 12. Can Strahan complete it? Yes, he can! Lovely stuff. As they now run through 13 and 14, Strahan is not going to roll over. This is going to slow them both down, though. And just in that last sector alone, Robert Weisenmuller has been able to pull the gap down to 1.8 seconds. So if the scrap continues, he will be in contention. So we're on lap 11 of 15, everything to play for with 4 laps to go.
We've sadly lost Tommy Ajala and Ollie Pelkton with a couple of accidents. It's a shame to lose them. Just seeing what we got at the back end. YTF1's Johan Lindberg is kind of lapping in himself, but we've actually got 34th and 35th are split by just a second and a half. It's Bupasha and Wienersen for Viking Racing, so we'll see how those two do at the end. He's actually, Morton's got a bit of drive down. No, not quite. They're fighting up and down the grid, even like I said, for these positions way off the mark with no hope of points, but they're still having to go for it.
That's what we like to see, good hard racing, irrespective of points are in play or not. That is Formula Challenge for you. Returning to our leading pair though, Hoekstra for Epic. Oh goodness, a mistake from Hoekstra through turn 8. That's going to give Strahan a bit of breathing room. Just ran wide onto one of the curbs, slippy curbs there. And he's just lost a bit of ground there to Strahan. Strahan is going to be glad of that. And goodness me, look who's caught up magnificently. It's Weisenmuller for Madcape. So, gaps, I want to say, pretty even between all 3 of these guys now. Might actually be a little bit of an advantage to Weisenmuller. The gap between these 3 now, just 1.2 seconds. So, we're getting a nice little tango going on here. And here we go. Nothing on between these 3 this time around, but goodness me, isn't it fascinating? The conditions have changed, and it's now suiting I'd like to say it's suiting the pursuing Hoekstra and Weisenmuller rather than the leading Strawn.
And Schroeter up to 8th, just can't pass Tupenik there. And there's Tupenik's going to dive down. That's surely going to be a bit of contact. Oh, not quite got out of it. Just about. Waring's now going to have a go at Tupenik as well, down to turn 1. Where's he thinking, left or right? Is he going to try? No, he's pulled back a bit.
They keeping an eye on our leading scrap of the 3. Weisenmuller is loving this first sector. Clearly got that car well hooked up. Took a whole visible chunk of time from Hoekstra through turns 3 and turns 4. I think now that there's a little bit of slipstreaming going on, he's able to keep pace with perhaps a little bit higher wing, which would penalise him otherwise. But interestingly, Hoekstra still quicker than Strawn through sector 1. The pressure building now on our championship leader. Hoekstra applying all he can as he runs through turn 8. Does he go wide? Not this time. Nicely through turn 8. And you can see, again, visibly, just a little bit more speed taken through that section. Really sets him up nicely to make a move on Strawn here through turns 9 and turns 10. Hoekstra absolutely nailing those two as they're now running towards 11. Strawn going to be vulnerable. Let's see who picks what side. Looks like Strawn is following the racing line for now, and he's going defensive. Here comes Hoekstra. He'll have the racing line, but it's not going to be the inside line. So we have to see, can Strawn come back on the brakes? Yes, he can. Space given, but critically, Hoekstra has kept his nose ahead. Down into 13. Still side by side all the way through this third sector. Hoekstra still hanging it out there. Oh, has he got it done? Yes. Goodness me, using all of the...
I think Strawn's going to come back there for turn 1.
He
Strawn's definitely going to come back for turn 1. Is he going to dive down? No, he's going to go back in, tuck back in.
Weisenmuller late on the brakes there, but yeah, just about using all of the road and just a little bit more as well. But a superb move there from Wookie Hoekstra, moving his way into the lead. But here comes Strawn. He doesn't want to give up that easily. Oh, late on the brakes, running around the outside of 3. Can he complete it into 4? That gap is always going to get a little thinner. Strawn has championship ambitions to remember here as well. Does he want to throw away a whole bag of points? We'll have to wait and see. Weisenmuller now applying the pressure, and can Hoekstra now build a lead with just a few laps remaining? This is tantalizingly good as we're now running through 7 up towards 8. We'll have to wait and see what comes of this one, but all very close at the top.
It's very close at the top. Just seeing what other kind of fights are going up and down the grid at the moment. There's no... well, Tupenik and Schroeter, as we know, are rather close together. Sometimes getting a bit too close as Tupenik runs wide again, actually, and Schroeter's going to have him around the outside of turn 8. He's there. You can't lean on him. Is he going to... No, he's tucked back in again. Tupenik struggles through turn 8. He just can't get the power down, and Schroeter definitely can. I think he's going to have him down through turns 9 and 10, or is he going to back off and then have him on the back straight? I think that's his plan.
Just to update you, Strawn had a lovely run through 9 and 10, but the wing differential means Hoekstra can just pull away. And in fact, Strawn, oh goodness, from attacking for second, has gone down to third as Weisenmuller pulling off a lovely move through 12, held it through 13, completes it in 14. In just the course of a few laps, Strawn has shuffled his way down to third place. It might be a bit of a moment there for Strawn, but he's still bringing home good championship points, and that should be his focus. Wookie Hoekstra leads. We're on lap 14 of 15 here in race 1 of the GPVWC from Istanbul Park.
I'm just wondering if Scott Beresford, 2.8 behind the leader, is going to be able to get involved on the last lap. I'm just looking at the gap between them at the moment. It's 2.1 to Eric Strawn. I don't think he's going to get too close. It depends how much these three really fight each other. I mean, Beresford's got a 1.3 gap to the guys behind who are also fighting each other. So Beresford could still be on for a podium here. He's actually dropping a little bit now. He's a few more tenths behind, so maybe not.
So shout out from the Deltec Racing team to Adam Osger, currently running in P24. It's his home race, having a good run. If he can make a few more places, he might be in with a chance of the reverse grid. So good home race that Adam's having at this point for Deltec. Just keeping an eye on our leaders, all as they were last time around. Hoekstra leading, going down through 9 into 10, but Weisenmuller clearly just running a little bit more wing. He can brake a little more hard, a little more late. And goodness me, he's right well and truly on the gearbox of this epic racing car. Can the cake driver do anything about it, though? We'll have to wait and see as the slipstream effect comes in play, and here comes the differential from the downforce. And look at that, Hoekstra, again, just able to edge out a little lead, but here comes Weisenmuller. He's got himself up the inside through 12. Oh, there's always going to be a car in the way there, Rob, but can he complete it through 14? side by side. We've got lap traffic ahead, and there goes Weisenmuller up to the lead, and here comes Strawn. These three scrapping. It's the final lap of the race. Who is going to win this one? We're going to have to keep an eye on it. It's going to be a cracker.
And 9th, 10th, and 11th, but also there were 3 wide actually into turn 12 just now, which was interesting to see. Schroeten's come out best out of that one. And you've also got Rasmus Salo and Lars Brugman in 4th and 5th. Very close on this final lap.
All cooking off up and down the field. Weisenmuller leads. We're on the final lap. We have Brupatra is a back marker. Is he going to play a factor in our completion of the race? He's certainly not moving aside. There we go. He's seen the blue flags. He's letting our leaders pass. Everyone getting by him nice and safely as they run through turn 7 towards turn 8. We've got another back marker ahead, but can Hoekstra, as he has done on Strawn previously, carry more speed through turn 8? Have to keep an eye. Weisenmuller keeping a nice steady line. He's carried a good amount of pace. Hoekstra cuts in late here though, and look at that! Weisenmuller runs wide on the exit of turn 8. Can he come back at him in turn 9? No, he can't. Ooh, late on the brakes, just about avoiding touching each other. Hoekstra, a decent run out of turn 9. Here comes a back marker. He sees the opportunity for a slipstream. He well and truly takes it. He comes through turn 11. Can Weisenmuller do anything? It's going to be the last opportunity of the race. Hoekstra going mega defensive. Here comes Strawn. It's going to be 3 wide. Oh, it's 3 wide down into 12. Who's going to complete this one? Weisenmuller up the outside. He's on the inside for 13. Can he get it across and cover the line? Yes, he can. Robert Weisenmuller wins race 1 of the GPVWC from Istanbul Park. Whoopke Hoekstra, a superb second for epic racing. So close, but yet so far. And Eric Strawn for Ice Cold. He continues his points accruing dominance for Ice Cold. He's come home in P3. Goodness me, Phil, please take a moment. I need a drink after that one.
I'm just seeing if there's any other fights going at the end, but all hands go Mebius up to 15th with Bruno losing out there just on the points, and yeah, Thomas Jacobson 17th as well, right on that group of cars. Seeing any other fights going up and down the field, or Mike Bell in 25th. Oh, he's run wide. Oh, that's got to let Pestoms through for 25th position. There's a few of these all kind of finishing together. Is he going to try and get a nice run? He's got a nice run out the final corner though, but I think sadly the finish line is just slightly too close for him to have a real good effect on Pestovs.
Goodness me. Action up and down the grid. We've still got cars finishing.
Oh, Koenig struggling in 30th, and Timu Valkajavi is going to have a go into the last corner here. If he gets a good exit, he could kind of slingshot his way round. No, again, it's just too far to that finish line. I think in terms of fights, that's pretty much it.
We saw it last time out in Portimao. The start-finish line very early on the start-finish straight, and sure enough, Weisenmuller, he knew that. He placed his car perfectly, and he has come away, I think, well, certainly in the time that I've been watching sim racing, that was probably arguably the best battle I've seen in a long time. So those top 3, thank you very much. I've rather enjoyed watching that, and goodness me, that's going to be a win to go in the memory, I am sure. Wow, what racing.
Yeah, I mean, up and down the field, I mean, I'm looking at the field spread's not too bad. If you consider like 40 cars, the top 20 finished in 30 seconds. So that's a good shout.
Yeah, cameraman extraordinaire just interrupting us, just to mention, and quite rightly so. Goodness me, where is he? Lars Brugman, yes, the other Mad Cape. Mentioned him a few times in commentary. He got himself from 19th to 6th, so great drive there. So both Mad Capes in the top 6. Superb stuff from the Mad Cape drivers there. Great haul of points. That will certainly help them in the Constructors battle. They were only 1 point behind Team Proline in the Constructors coming into this round. So great stuff. So goodness me, lovely, lovely, lovely stuff from those two. They clearly getting all the points in for the Constructors, just as important as everything else. So there we are. Whew.
Just seeing how Team Proline did, actually. I think only one of their drivers in the points. Trupanic in 11th. I can't see where the other Proline guy... I don't know. There's another Proline guy on the circuit, actually. Yes, there is. Ballant Hammer in 20th. So only a few points there for Proline. So that probably will mean Mad Cape are topping the Constructors.
Well, so Ice Cold are significantly ahead. They've got, goodness me, 120 odd points or so. So they'll have a little way to go yet, but certainly going about it in the right way, scoring plenty of points. You do that plenty enough, or often enough, you're certainly going to tear down that gap. And of course, we're so early in the season still. We're only on round 5 of 17. 2 races around, and goodness me, um, whew, uh, if we're going to have this much racing, and we're only coming up on a third through, I think we're going to have to get new voice boxes by the end of this film. This is
It's
absolutely magic.
Yes, it is, and also, I mean, some people point out there they couldn't even see how wet it was. I mean, during commentary, I couldn't work out how wet it was on track. It wasn't too wet. It was interesting. We've had it more rain in practice and qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see what race 2 throws up as well.
Yeah, indeed. Again, as Phil just mentioned, it was one of those odd moments where it's wet, but not wet enough to have wet tires on. You're still going to have more grip and better lap time if you stick with the slicks. So yes, no real need to swap over to wet tires in those conditions. But who knows what we might have in race 2, and let alone with a reverse grid as well. So plenty of opportunity to potentially, the weather could play its hand, the reverse grid could play its hand. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens next. So we're just waiting for moving on to our next warm-up session before race 2, where we will have our next race, of course.
So yeah, it's been interesting to see if the weather does play a new hand. What we're going to be doing for the warm-up. Have to wait for all the cars to load in before we find out what the weather's going to do. And of course, my game has crashed, so I will hand over to you, Jody.
Oh, well, there you are. Isn't that nice of our factor, isn't it? Oh, yes, nice little crash. Well, I can tell you it's raining, and it is a fair odd amount of wetness coming down on the track. But we're just moving back into warm up. The conditions may change. We'll wait and see on that one. Yes, just as we are getting into warm up, lovely sunshine for
4 seasons there, I think we just had.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Definitely had plenty of mixture of weather conditions. I'm sure if I was sat in one of these cars, I'd certainly be going, as we come back to the dry conditions. Hated driving these cars in the wet. I mean, they're tricky enough to drive as is. There's a lot of torque. There's a lot of power there. You can easily spin your tyres up and send yourself round. If you take more grip away from the track surface, you're only going to make things more tricky for yourself. So yes, goodness me. 4 seasons in 4 sessions there. How about that? But critically, it's dry. It doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky, but it's also quite chilly, actually, to be said. It's only 13 degrees on track, so that's actually one factor we didn't mention in the last race. Quite cold so far this evening.
Yeah, we were looking at temperatures, only about 13 degrees actually at the moment. So let's have a quick look at 13-degree track temperature, which is nothing for these cars. They're spending their warm-up laps really kind of doing the burnouts and kind of getting the tyres into order.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bill, we're now in our 5-minute warm-up just before race 2. Reverse grid has been drawn as number 17, which will mean the Dogecoin car of Thomas Jacobs will be taking pole position. He clearly
He's taken that well.
He has taken that very well. He's clearly very pleased with that. We won't repeat what he's just said.
It was French.
Yep, it was French. There you are. So he will be leading us away on race 2 this evening. Bill, so much action there in race 1. I don't think I can actually remember all of it. So much was going on. But any particular standout drivers or moments for you in that superb first race?
I think the winner, Wiesmuller. He did really well considering we really thought it'd be one of Strawn or Hoekstra, but they just continued fighting each other and just losing so much time. And Wiesmuller kind of did his pace, could see it all happening, didn't panic, just kept going, and then kind of turned up and then got himself involved. And I think because he managed to kind of keep the tyres together, he was kind of the one that kind of did best out of that. He was, those two were fighting each other too much.
Yes, and it's that classic case of drivers scrapping and just giving themselves the opportunity to, potentially being overtaken by someone else as well. So perhaps one of those rare opportunities that if you put your differences aside just for a moment, think of the bigger picture and try and build a gap together, you might have done better and had a nice scrap on your own. But anyway.
They had that actually in touring cars, didn't they, at the weekend? It was the Clios or the Janettas? I think it was the Clios, where you had one guy kind of pointing, he was in second place, kind of trying to gesticulate to the guy in third place, stop trying to overtake me, let's catch up the guy in first. And that was kind of it should have been some hand gestures between those two, kind of saying, look, let's try to battle it out at the end here. We're losing time to the guy in third. And sadly, like I said, didn't think of the long game, and I think it's Strawn that kind of cost the most. He went from first to third, and he's still getting decent championship points at least, so I suppose it's kind of working for him.
It is indeed. It's consistency which wins championships, not overall race wins. So as long as he can continue to score big points, he's only going to help his quest in trying to put his hands on this year's driver's title. Coming into this evening, he had a 32-point advantage, as is, over Lars Brugman, and he will have extended that again, of course, with Lars coming home in 6th and him in 3rd. So that's more points for his championship challenge. So all going well there. It could have been a win, but then again, I think if I were in his shoes, I think I would have been quite happy with 3rd, bringing home some more points. So there we are. Anyway, if any of what you have seen so far this evening has taken your fancy and you'd quite like to have a go yourself, feel free to do so. Head on over to gpvwc.com, sign up to the website and to the forums, and you can get involved. We have open wheel racing, as you've seen this evening. We have the Bigger Brother and the Bigger Brother again, 2 Formula Challenge, Super Cup and Super League. They will be following on Wednesday and Thursday this week, same time as this broadcast. And not only do we have open wheel stuff, we have some tin top action as well. So we have the likes of the International Touring Cup, our touring car series, running every other Monday. We have our World Sports Series, our Porsche Carrera Championship, running every other Wednesday. And of course, once a month, we have World GT, our endurance championship as well. That's running on R Factor 2, and joining that as well on R Factor 2 will be Atlantic Series before long as well. Indy cars running around some of the great racetracks in the United States of America. So if any of that sounds like good fun, feel free, head on over to the website. And we're a funny bunch, honest. And if you like the racing that you've seen tonight, there's plenty of that to go around. I can assure you of that. So we have 30 or so seconds to go in our warm-up. Race 2, always throwing up a interesting challenge for our drivers. Phil, anyone you'd suggest our audience keep an eye on?
Well, I think Brugman did a good job going 19th to 6th, so why can't he do that again is what I say. Bring it on.
Yep, and I would agree with you there, but Eric Straron, he won the second race from the reverse grid, so keep an eye on him as well. You never know. Orders swapped round. We'll have to see who fights their way to the front. So 2 to keep an eye on, Brugman and Straron. How about that? They're our current championship protagonists in 1st and 2nd, respectively, as well. So how about that? Anyway, our grid is now being formed. Just waiting for our drivers to complete their final laps, and we'll be on our way to our second race of this evening here from Istanbul Park. 15 laps yet again. Weather potentially a variable. We'll have to see who again conquers the conditions and motors their way through to the checkered flag.
Again, it's kind of all eyes on the weather to see what that's going to throw up as well. So hopefully my game won't crash again, because it'll be a slightly annoyance.
Yep, indeed. We're just literally waiting on our last few drivers. Everyone wishing each other good luck. And we'll be migrating, of course.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
We've migrated across, and so we are now waiting on everyone to take to the grid. The track conditions are colder again, but critically they're dry, so I'm sure our drivers will be pleased with that one.
Oh, Tom's left. Our pole sitter has
Oh,
left.
goodness me. Oh, well, his excitement has perhaps manifested into something else now. So, unfortunately, mentioning disconnections, there you are. He disconnected off the start. So, our new pole sitter, effectively, or leader, will be Bruno Sousa Ferreira for Scuderia Basilica. So, oh, goodness me. Unlucky there for Jacobs and the Dogecoin team. That would have been a lovely opportunity to score some points. But anyway, Phil, take us through our remaining order.
So now technically on pole, it's Bruno Sousa Ferreira for Scuderia Basilia, Hans Mebius for Cosmo Autosport second, with the Downforce iZone Racing of Rob Mason in third, Marcus Riffel, fourth place for Centurion Grand Prix, and it's the Patrick Vandermiller for Cosmo Autosport in fifth, Ben Stupenek, keep an eye on him, fancy him for podium, Team Proline in sixth, Mike Schroten, Epic Racing seventh, and it's Ice Cold Racing's Jesper Nielsen in eighth. The other Centurion of Andrew Waring in 9th, and it's Tobias Olsen for Bafsvik Race Grand Prix in 10th.
Lars Brugman for Madcake. He'll be starting in P11 for this second race with Rasmus Salo, another quick man who made a good couple moves in the first race. For Bastevik, he'll be starting P12. Scott Beresford for Racing Team Schroden will be starting in P13 with Eric Strahan starting in P14 for Ice Cold. Whoopke Hoekstra, oh goodness, Whoopke off on the grass, but he will be starting P15 if he can get himself recovered and back to grid. Evidently he's had a little adventure on our warm-up lap, but following him, hopefully on the grid, will be our race 1 winner, Robert Weisemiller, in the Mad Cape car. In fact, actually, he was running a little bit wide there as well, so who knows what's going on. Anyway, Ari Niemanen for Kyala, heading the Kyala pairing actually. He'll be starting P17 with his teammates, Lewis McGlade starting just behind him. Ballenhammer for Team Proline will be starting in P19 for the second race, and rounding out our top 20 will be Ben Willis for Cedric Racing.
It's Edouard Patala for Viking Racing 21st. Tom's teammate, Ben Warren, flying the flag now for Dogecoin Racing in 22nd. Anne Mosger for Deltec in 23rd, with Andreas Pestov for Cedric Racing in 24th. Mike Bell for 25th for Arrow International Racing, with Dennis Mitchell 26th for Deltec Racing Team. Andreas Wolters for Backmarker Brigade up in 27th, with Sam Jones 28th for Arrow International Racing. 29th, Philip Koenig, Drake Racing, and Timu Valpajavi in 30th for YTF1.
Arjan Zilstra for Triple 20 will be starting in P30 the second race. He'll be followed by Morten Wernerson for Viking in P32. Simon Smith for the Backmarker Brigade, again not at the back, he'll be starting P33, and he will be followed by Johan Lindberg for YTF1. P35 for the second race will be Jari Brapucha for Scuderia Basilica. Tomio Yala in the second racing team Schroeder car will be starting in P36. Olli Pelkonen has spun from P37, so he's having a bit of a drama. He will recover with James Kirk following him on the grid for Drag Racing in P38. Yaden Wright, who I believe retired early on in the first race, will be starting in P39, although he looks to be having a little bit of lag, latency going on there, so he's just coming around the final couple of corners, but that will complete 39 cars now with the unfortunate, well, did not start effectively there of Thomas Jacobs, our pole man. So everyone now just forming themselves up on the grid, getting themselves in the right positions, as we now wait for the lights to come on here for race 2 of round 5 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge here, Istanbul Park. It's like everyone's just about in their positions now, just waiting for the lights to come on. Here we go, 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are racing. Long hold. Good start from Sousa Ferreira, but an even better one from Hansko Mebius for Cosmo. He's going to lead down into turn 1. Yes, he is. Everyone's slightly cautious. Riffle! Oh, Riffle! Oh, he's caught a big one there. Goodness me. Very late on the brakes, and that's caused a real drama for our leader into, or our pole sitter effectively, Sousa Ferreira, running clean up the inside, and oh, goodness me. Huge crash. Oh, Yala involved there, wearing Kirk. Goodness me, it's a bit of a car crash.
Yeah, there's quite a few off there. So that's going to really... So who's that? Hansko Mebius is kind of the one that's pulling away from it, and there's loads fighting for second, all over the place. Chupenik, Mason, Olsen, I can't quite tell who that's. Riffle, 3 wide, that's not going to work through there, guys. Chupenik was one losing out, and it's Sarlo right behind them as well. We're kind of nearly going to go 5 wide, I think, through turn 8, so that could be rather interesting. They're going to go at least 2 wide, if not 3.
You don't win races on the first lap, boys. You've got to reach the finish. Goodness me, side by side through turn 8. Mason and Zupenik for P4 and P5. They just about make it work. Good work, boys, on not having a bit of a drama there as they run down into 9. Mason late on the brakes. Oh, Riffle having a moment through 9. He's really bottling people up as now we've got about 5 ride. 3rd all the way down to 7th or so. All stuck together. Oh, goodness, Riffle spun. Oh, that's good avoidance. Oh, we got a car flying off into the wall.
Ben Willis is out as well.
Oh, goodness me. That was a bit of a drama there for him. But everyone just about making their way around. Good bit of avoidance from some of our drivers. But off that very chaotic start, it is Mebius for Cosmo Autosport who leads, completing the first lap from Zupenik, and Lars Brugman for Madcape, rounding out our top 4. Scott Beresford, actually, great start for him. He's up to P5 as well for Racing Team Schroeder.
Yeah, I just saw a tyre go down. I think that was Ben Willis's tyre, so that's him out as well. Zilstra going in, Riffle for pit stops. There's going to be a load in for pits at the moment here. So I'm just going to try and kind of call them out. We've got Simon Smith is in the pits. We've got Eric Strada in the pits. So he must have had involved one of them as well. It's Mike Bell, Patrick Vandermuller, Riffle, as I said, Zilstra. It looks like Schroeten's retired as well. Epic Racing's Mike Schroeten's retired with suspension damage.
Oh dear. There's always the risk of a second or a reverse grid race, a little bit of a drama here or there, and unfortunately just a little bit of over-ambitious driving off the start. I think has cost several drivers. Anyway, we'll forget about that for now and focus on what we do have, which is Mebius leading for Cosmo, as he's now running through turn 8. Olsen in P2 with Zupenik, who's now really under pressure for P3 by Lars Brugman and Scott Beresford, all running line astern. Here comes Brugman, really good exit through turn 8. He's alongside down into 9, who's last of the late breakers. Pretty even, actually, but Brugman sneaks it up the inside. These two going to be compromised, though, through 10. They're forced wide. Can Beresford do anything on exit? Not particularly at this point, actually. It looks like those two have got perhaps a little less wing. They run through turn 11. Here comes Zupanik. He's having a look. Brugman covers the right. He's now back over on the left. Can he get anything done? But here comes Beresford. He's getting a lovely double toe. Ooh, Zupanik trying to go around the outside on the brakes, but Brugman nicely up the inside there. He's up to P3. He's going to really benefit if Strahan has to make a recovery drive after damage. Ooh, Zupanik leaving it up the inside for 14, making Brugman ask the question, do I continue to turn in? But thankfully, no contact between the two. That's a move done for P3.
Salo in the pits here as well, so that's Salo that's going to drop down the order as well after he had a really good start to the season. He's going to drop way down the order. Who else we got? So Jala and James Kirk were out, I think, early on in the lap with that big crash at turn 1.
Wiesenmuller, one to watch. Obviously, he was our race winner from race 1. He's got himself up to P5. He's run round the outside, can I believe it, of turn 4, round the outside of Beresford. So a good move from him. He's now getting involved in this lovely little tango for P3. And I wouldn't hazard against that this pairing of Brugman and Wiesenmuller will be able to work well together. They are, of course, teammates. And I'm sure they will be able to make hay while the sun is currently shining.
Olsen is right on the back now. Mebius. Either Mebius made a mistake or Olsen is caught right up, although he's lost back a little bit through turn 8. But I reckon he's going to have a go at him through turn 11 later.
Brugman up to P3 as well, just to mention that happened earlier in the lap as P3, 4, 5 and 6 all running through turns 9 and 10. I think this is going to be tasty. Who's running the skinny wings? Who's running the high wings? Who's going to be late on the brakes? We'll find out.
Olsen for the lead. He's going to have the inside for turn 12. He should have this done because he's also quite a bit ahead already. Yeah, he's got a whole full car ahead. And he's quite late on the brakes. He's going to go wide though, give Mebius the inside. But he's had a bit of a contact there. But he has managed to shut it off now. Vanneman down to 4th and 5th.
Zupanik and Vizes working together. Those two engineering their way up into P3 and P4 now. Zupanik now under attack from Scott Beresford. He's having a look up towards turn 1, just a little unsettled. Here comes Zupanik, a little cheeky look on Wiesenmuller himself, but nothing on that time around.
It's Wiesenmuller's teammate ahead of him as well, so it's wondering whether if he's faster, is he going to let him through?
Well, this is the thing, they're teammates, no point fighting one another. You don't definitely want to take yourselves off the track. That will certainly be a bit of a drama for the Mad Cake boys to deal with, but I'm sure they will not have that problem as they now run through 4, down towards 5. Zupanik, he's having a look. He can't really make anything happen at this point, but he's now got his mirrors full of Racing Team Troton. Scott Beresford applying all of the pressure as they now run through 6, down towards 7. Not close enough to make a move here, but for my money, keeping an eye on the two Mad Cake drivers, Wiesenmuller much closer now to Brugman than he was previously as they run through turn 8. Olsen takes the lead. Didn't quite see what happened on that one.
Didn't we?
Olsen for Centurion takes the lead from Hansco and Cosmo, so a change there. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on these Mad Cape boys. I think they are in the pound seat to potentially take a nice P1 and P2 if they can catch on to the back of Mebius and Olsen.
So Olsen did that on the back straight of the previous lap, just had the slipstream as we expected and just kind of got down the inside and that was it, job done.
Lovely stuff there from Olsen then, putting himself into the lead of the race. It's where everyone wants to be, hence why they're all driving around in circles. But Brugman, just keeping an eye. Brugman and Wiesenmuller now on the back of Mebius in the Cosmo, and we'll have to wait and see. Mebius, defending already. That's just going to slow you down there, Mebius. Don't want to be doing that quite late. You're just going to open up more opportunity. So anyway, as they run over the start-finish line to complete lap 4, start lap 5 of 15, Mebius locking up down into the very tricky turn 1, runs a little wide. Brugman keeping an eye on all this, plotting his opportunity. Can he make a move as he sets the fastest lap of the race last time around as well? Mebius covering off the inside, Brugman having a look. Here comes Wiesenmuller, he's had to get out of that one a bit. No opportunity down through 4. Can they make anything happen into 5?
Oh, that was Brugman.
Oh,
yeah, I think it'd be easy to call that one, I'm afraid. Is he going to wait for him and give the place back? Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. There was a car there. It's always tricky, those ones. Always tricky when you're up the inside. Could small space have been left, but that's unfortunate for the Cosmo driver. Down he goes. But Brugman for now up into P2. Can he now chase down the leader, and can his teammate do the same?
So in terms of team battles, we got Brugman and Wiesenmuller 2nd and 3rd for Mad Cape. Pro Lines, Linus Stern 5th and 6th. Who else? We had a couple more actually, but I think they've split apart. Oh, Centurions 29th and 30th. And we did have a couple more, but it looks like they've split themselves apart. The YTF1s are 2 cars apart from each other. Yeah, quite a few teams are kind of merging together.
They're just giving. I've got a nice little scrap developing for P7, 8, and 9. We've got a recovering Mebius who's just been overtaken by Mason McGlade in the Kyle. A great start from him, running through turn 11. He's got himself up to P7 currently, but he's now got 2 cars all over the back of him, and he's going to be made into a sandwich. Goodness me, though, he's later on the brakes. He's able to slither out of that one, but here comes Mason. He's up the inside, but not enough to take the corner, and here comes Mebius. He sees the opportunity through 14, but he can't get the power down, so he slips down behind Mason. Lovely bit of driving there from McGlade, not panicking, just taking the normal line, being mindful of those around him, and he holds on to P7 for now. As here comes Mebius late on the brakes. Whoa! Down into 1. He gets that one stopped for P8, just about. Nice move there from Mebius, recovering from that moment, or that drama just a few moments ago.
So I'm looking at the gap between Brugman and Olsen for the lead. It's currently,
sorry,
Olsen's out.
Olsen spins.
Spun round.
Olsen spins from the lead.
Oh, what a shame. I think he may have put his right tyres on the grass there in what would be turn 4. No, he just kind of lost it out of turn 3. Bit too much power, tried catching it, and it spat him the other way. That's him down to 7th now. He's got Mebius around the outside of turn 7 to try and overtake. He's got to slot back in 7th place. What a shame.
Yeah, a little bit of just running it wide. Unfortunately, that's cost him a lead, but he's recovered back to P7. He's now back with Mebius, so those two can continue their scrap from earlier. But yeah, a real shame there for the Bastovic driver. He was doing a great job there in first place. But that, as it now stands, we now have Brugman from Weisenmuller, from Beresford, our podium contenders. A couple shout-outs on Twitter to make at this point. Mad, obviously very pleased with what's going on. They've got their drivers up towards the sharp end of the grid. And comment from the Epic Racing team, Whoopkey's making his way back through the field, and indeed he is. He's up to P11. And unfortunately, their other driver, I think that was Mike Bell, was it not?
No.
No? All right.
The other Epic Racing is Mike Schroten, who that was suspension damage.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, he's been damaged and out of it. Deltec, they're running in P... Let's see, where are we here? Goodness, where have they gone? They were together.
Solo's out. We missed that.
Yes, Solo's just retired. Goodness me, all sorts of going up and down. There's all sorts of action. Zylstra also now just retiring as well. So all sorts of drama going on up and down the field. However, our leader continues to be Brugman. Now, I think the question has to be, at this point, does he let his teammate pass? We know he's quick. We know Weisenmuller, he's got the car to give him the race win. Not to pre-speculate what the disciplinary committee will say, but I wouldn't happen to bet that Brugman will be able to hold on to this race win after this. But would it be better to let his teammate pass and hold up Beresford and try and gain as many team points as possible?
That was an interesting one. Solo, sadly, Pelkonen dived up the inside and kind of did hit him off. But Pelkonen, very gentleman of him, did kind of wait for Salo to overtake him, and then Salo kind of overtook him and basically stopped in front of him and then escaped out, which was a bit rude. He was giving, he admitted his mistake, gave the place back, and Salo went in front of him saying thanks very much, then just braked and stopped in front of him.
Sorry to jump in here, but we've got action for second place and back markers. Here we go. We've got Scott Beresford. He's been able to catch to the back of Weisenmuller as they run through 11. This is going to be a fight for P2. Weisenmuller going defensive. More wing on that car. Here comes Beresford slipping up the inside with that skinny wing. But can he get it on the brakes? Oh, very late on the brakes. Here comes Brugman doing a little bit of team defense there, blocking the angle. Can Brugman hold on? Just about. Weisenmuller's having a sniff. But are these two going to trip over each other and give second place? Oh, Weisenmuller shutting the door, coming across and going, no, thank you. They stay as they are, but Beresford clearly on the march. We're on lap 8 of 15. We are over, or coming over halfway distance done now. I think we're going to have an interesting top 3 again, and it's going to be going right to the wire. Beresford looking up towards turn 3. He's going to have to be brave to go around the outside of there against Weisenmuller, but he's going to give it a go.
So, do we think Brugman's holding up Wiesemann at this moment in time, or do we think it's just a slipstream that's helping Beresford catch both of them?
Well, so Beresford, by the looks of it, is running skinnier wings, and that is always going to help because you'll just be able to run on these longer straights and just sucker up. But, you know, I do think at this point of the 3, I want to say that Lars is currently just holding everyone up a bit, and I do think it perhaps be wise from a team position to let Weisenmuller pass just for a few laps. Let's see what he can do. If nothing happens, well, he can always swap it round again. But if they continue to squabble, Beresford is in the pound seat. Yes, again, you know, goodness me. Mad Kate, they've got a championship to worry about. Driver, Lars, he's got points to worry about in the drivers as well. You don't want to be giving away those easy points by spinning each other out or anything daft. Anyway, Beresford, great at through 10. Phil, talk us through 11.
Yep, so kind of, he's going to go for the outside Beresford, but yeah, Brugman's giving his teammate the slipstream. That's what's helping him. He is playing the team game brilliantly well, considering he's in the lead. Oh, it's going to, if Wiesemüller nearly hitting the back of his teammate, that's the downside of it. If Brugman's giving him the slipstream and then kind of having to say, well, please don't hit the back of me. I'm trying to help you while I'm in the lead. I think Brugman, if he could actually drive away. It's the slipstream helping Wiesemüller, and then Brugman's helping him on purpose, which is, great sportsmanship for Brugman. Trying to help his teammate keep second. Just looking at Jepenik, he's kind of keeping the back to about 2 seconds behind those three, so as he goes wide through turn 1, his teammates 4 further seconds down the road, so I think it is going to be these three for the win, assuming there's no incidents as Beresford's looking at the outside. And problem with Brugman is that even Wiesemüller is having to look at different lines just to make sure he doesn't hit his teammate.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and I wouldn't want to be a team manager in this position, that's for sure. What I will mention team-wise, though, is both Team Pro lines, who were the second-place constructor coming into this round. They're running in P4 and P5, so that'll be handy for them at this point, as Brugman gets a really good exit. Wiesemüller a little screwily on exit, running through 8. No opportunity here, so I'm sure the gaps will go back to as they were, but Beresford, let's keep an eye on him here as they run through the exit at turn 8. Wiesemüller just running a little bit wider. Here comes Beresford. Down the hill. Can he make anything happen on the brakes? Not this time around.
I think he's kind of hoping he's going to push Wiesemüller into the back of Brugman. Not literally, but kind of hope that they're two are going to make a mistake together. But they're doing brilliantly on lap 9 of 15. So far so good for Mad Cape, but can they keep this up?
Here we go. Here comes... Oh, goodness me. I don't want to preempt and curse the commentator, but... Goodness me, they're going to have to play this one very, very carefully, because to my eye, I want to say that Beresford is wanting to make things happen, and he's got a couple of options. He can either just try and overtake, or he can cause mistakes. And yet again, Wiesemüller spinning up that inside left rear wheel coming out of 14. All little bits of information.
Oh, Mason round in 10th. Mason's going to lose a few places. I don't know if he got hit or lost it himself. I need to have a look into that.
They drama there.
Himself.
Always the worst ones where you just make a little mistake, just a brief lapse of concentration, and it costs you what's so far been a good race for him.
Yeah, you lost about 3 or 4 places in that one. It's still as you were in top 3. In fact, Beresford dropped back a little bit.
Just a little bit through the last set, yes. But we've got a few back markers. In fact, we've got 3 back markers just up ahead as we're running through 7 towards 8. We'll have to see if they play any factor, but yeah, I think if I were Beresford at this point in time, I'd just give it a lap or two. Still got plenty of time. Let's see where you're stronger and try and really set yourself up for a good run on one lap and see what you can do. Because I think if you can get between these two, all of a sudden you can make something happen. While they're still helping each other, as they are brilliantly, it has to be said, I don't think you'll be able to do too much more.
Actually pulling away from Jepenik, the gap between them is now 2.5 seconds between the 3 of them. So actually, where they're all slipstreaming each other and Jepenik's on his own, 4 seconds ahead and 3 seconds behind, it's kind of in a race his own and slowly falling back, I'm afraid. So yeah, it really is the top 3.
Yeah, all close fight there for the top 3, but we do have a few other scraps as well. All in fairly close proximity. We have
12,
P10,
13th.
10, 11, 12, just about to come on to 13, and P12 and P13, got Lindbergh and Oscar. Oscar, his home race for Deltec. Having a look up the inside for 12, can he get it done? For my money, yes he can. Lovely stuff. So he's navigated his way up to P12. Nice move there on Lindbergh. We've got Valkajavi as well, and a few others looking to get involved in the scrap for the lower end of the points as... Oh, goodness me, I thought Beresford was having another little look there for P2. Goodness me, all literally line astern. And I do not think at this point you can do anything at this point. Oh, Wiesemüller, big little tank slap there. Well held.
Beresford went wide and can get the power down as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The exit through 6 there, you can actually gain time by running it wide. Just keeping it wide, you can put a little more power down and kind of just, run that wider line. It can be effective. It can work. But we've now got a back marker ahead of this trio as they run through the exit of 8. Let's see if Beresford can do anything here. As you say, Phil, the slipstream effect is really keeping these 3 together, making them gap the car behind, much like NASCAR actually to a degree, when you get a group of drivers working together, pulling a gap, and well, these 3 are so closely matched on pace, there is just nowhere to split them. Oh, goodness me, but look at Beresford, lovely run out of turn 11, but here comes the slipstream effect.
Yeah, as I say, that he was trying to get a riffle there and go around the outside of Visa
Oh,
Muller.
can
He
he
may
do
have
this?
got Brookman.
Oh, Weisenmuller coming across, holding his line through 13 and 14. Lovely stuff there from Beresford, trying to affect a pass around the outside of 12. Very brave move, and unfortunately, the following corners just didn't quite work out for him. But lovely racing from these three. They run through turn 1, we're on lap 12 and 15. The time is slowly starting to run out, but these three still line astern.
Yeah, and 12th, 13th, and 14th for Adam Oscar's cut in a YTF1 sandwich of Lindbergh ahead of him and Valkyrie behind him.
Oh, contact! Beresford's running to the back of Weisenmuller. Pelkonen spun ahead. We had back markers. Here comes Zupenek. He's going to benefit from that. I fear that Beresford's lost his front wing. No, he hasn't. Whose front wing is that? Goodness me, there was contact between back markers. Everyone bumping over each other, just keeping an eye, making sure that they weren't going to cause each other any drama. Beresford, a big loser there. He's dropped right off the back. Zupenek a gainer. And Ballant Hammer now, he's got his eyes
Visa
on
Muller's gone
P4.
wide. I think it's Visa Muller's got the problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed,
Visa
he
Muller's
stopped.
out.
He's out, he's retired.
Suspension damage.
I'll try and get a replay to see exactly what happened there, but that's
Must
a
have been
real
damage
drama.
Beresford.
Real drama for the Mad Cake team. Sure enough, just watching now as they are running through 4, Beresford just gives him a little tap, spins himself. Weisenmuller just gets unsighted, hits the back of, I think that was Pelkonen. He gives himself a puncture, loses his front wing, and that is the end of his race. So a really unlucky moment there for the Mad Cake driver from second place. But Lars Brugman continues to lead. Ben Zupenek now up into P2 with Scott Beresford, who is recovering now. But can Team Proline now benefit and get both of their cars onto the podium?
Ballant Hammer in 4th place is on the inside of Beresford as we're looking to turn 12. Is he going to be able to make it stick? About the same time on the brakes. Beresford's just about giving him space, and Ballant was very lucky not to spin the car there. Yeah, he's still down in 4th. I don't think he's going to make anything here. He's going to go. No, Beresford's parking on the apex and said, "Go on, then try and go through me." And he, surprisingly enough, couldn't.
There you are. Good defensive driving. You can't go round me. Try and go through me. Oh, wait, you can't do that. So there we are. We'll stay as we are. So now the important thing for Beresford, he needs to get back in rhythm. He's just had a little setback. He just had a little spin there. But if he can get back in rhythm, start setting quick laps, he'll then ask the question of Hammer, what can you do, my friend? Can you keep with me, or will you start making mistakes trying to do my pace? So we'll keep an eye on these two. Very close as they're running down through turns 4 into 5. Hammer having a little look there through 5, but nothing really on at that point as they run through 6. Can Hammer do anything as we're now running down towards turn 7? Not particularly down into the braking zone as they were. We've got a few back markers ahead of this lot. Oh, Beresford spins! Beresford spins! He's put it on the curb. He's round. And goodness me, the recovery drive continues to be on. He's still in 5th place. It's still great points for himself and Racing Team Schroten. But P4 has now left him. Here comes Mebius from in the lead of the race early on after he had his moment. Here he comes. Can he make a pass on Beresford in these last few laps?
Yes, this is now a double podium for Team Proline at the moment. We thought we were going to have a double podium for Mad Cape. So Brugman is 5 seconds ahead now of Zupenek. Is that gap going to go down anytime soon? Doesn't look like it. I think they're none of them now have slipstream, so they're all struggling. Although Mebius on Beresford going into turn 12 is going to be a good one. Mebius is going to have the outside line. No, nothing to do there. Beresford's gone wide. He's gone deep, and then Mebius is going to try and go around the outside and have the inside for the final corner. Is he going to be able to do it? Ooh, it's going to be close.
Space
No,
just
quite.
about given and left. Well held there from Beresford. He really just needs to forget the events of the last few laps, just focus on himself. I'm sure he'll be able to pull a gap and start to catch Tobias Olsen. The only factor, unfortunately, will be that we are now slowly running out of laps.
Valkajavi round. So Valkajavi in 16th place has gone. Oh, Yaden right. Oh, no, Yaden. Valkajavi was spinning round and he kind of should have waited, I think, before trying any manoeuvres like that. So what happened there? Mason up the inside of Lindbergh in turn 12. Lindbergh shut the door, forced Mason onto the grass. Valkajavi tried going around both of them, did, and then got punted by both his teammate and Pestov's. And then started spinning around when he shouldn't be, when Yaden Wright's coming towards you, mate.
Dear. Not ideal. Not ideal whatsoever, especially so close to the end of the race. Anyway, just to return, so Scott Beresford recovering in P5. Interestingly, we have Hansko Mebius in P6, and he is now being pursued by one Whoopke Hoekstra for Epic. For a great race one, he's making his way back through the field after dramas and llamas and everything else. We've seen plenty of action going on in this second race this evening. And he's now right on the gearbox of that Cosmo Autosport car, been doing some good regular laps, keeping an eye on our timing screen. So can he affect anything as we run out of turns 9 and 10? He's definitely on the gearbox of this Cosmo car. Can he do the double as they run through and down towards 12?
We've got Mebius and Hoekstra kind of all fighting each other, 5, 6, 7. This is going to be a very interesting turn 12 indeed. Hoekstra's going to take the outside line around Beresford to see if he can get the inside of 13, which he can't. Whereas,
But covers the line against Mebius, so critically he's been able to secure that place. So good overtake there from Woodkeep. He's up to P6. Beresford now will definitely have his hands full. We're on the last lap of the race. Can Beresford hold on to P5, or can Woodkeep complete another lovely pass like that? Oh, he's having a look down into turn 1. That'll be brave. Not much room for manoeuvre.
Hoekstra. Hoekstra's now got a bit of a run on him, but probably not enough for turn 3.
Yeah, Mebius, he's having a look. He's, I don't think, close enough unless he's going to leave it all the way hanging around the outside. He's having a look down into 4 though. Oh, not enough though. So Hoekstra holds on to that one just about. But returning to our leaders, it's still Brugman from the brace of Team Proline cars, Zupanik and Hammer. They're just making their way through some lap traffic. No real pressure on either of those guys. The closest car to them is Tobias Olsen. He's got some... oh no, in fact he is on the back of Hammer almost. He's got an 8/10 gap as they're running through turn 8. But everyone just about in their own little scraps or just navigating their way around lap traffic. We're on the final lap as Brugman's now entered the last sector, going to turn 11 and 12, final time.
So it looks like he's going to have the trick done. I mean, yeah, it's a 6-second gap to Chupenik, so that's pretty much Brugman as long as he doesn't make any mistakes through this final sector. Nice and easy through 12, a little bit of gas for 13, and he's going to come over for a win for Mad Cape Racing.
Indeed, nicely through 14, and he rounds the final bend down over the starfish line and wins race 2. Lars Brugman from Mad Cape Racing Team completes a lovely round of racing here this evening in the GPVWC Formula Challenge. Ben Zupanik, another good solid podium for himself and Team Proline, and locking out the podium is Ballant Hammer of Team Proline as well, so I'm sure the Team Proline camp are going to be ecstatic.
13th, 14th. Pestov's lost the 13th position and then tried chucking it down the inside, and he's just about going to get 15th unless Eric Strachan can get a point for ice cold racing at the end here. He's going to have a lovely exit. It's going to be very close. Oh, Pestov's just managed to have it covered. Yeah, he tried diving down the inside for 13th, having lost it, and then ended up losing 13th and 14th place.
Oh dear, unlucky for those two. Beresford was able to hold on. He held on to 5th after a few dramas of his own. Hoekstra came home in 6th. And shout out to the Deltec Racing Team, their best results of the year so far in P10 and P11, so I'm sure they're going to be ecstatic with that. Rounding out our top 15, we have Rob Mason in 12th, Johan Lindberg for YTF1 in 13th, Edward Batala for Viking in P14, and rounding out the points playing positions was Eric Racing. We have Andres Pestos. Oh, goodness me. So a little scrappier than the first race. I don't think you can really dance around that one. But some good racing up and down the field to conclude this evening's action.
As we totally called it, a Mad Cape double podium. I think we owe the team boss an apology there for a bit of a commentator's curse. But,
yes,
yes. I think there's going to be quite a few instances there that I think the drivers deep down know that mistakes were made. I mean, I still need to give a shout out there for Pelkonen, who did kind of hit Salo off and then waited for him. So, you know, one of the fair play to him. He realised the mistake straight away and tried fixing it, but there we go.
Yeah, goodness. As just pointed out, actually, Mad Cape Racing Team have won both races this evening, each driver. I'm sure they'll both be pleased there, but goodness me, yes, certainly a few questions, I think, for some drivers to think to themselves, and I think DC, unfortunately, will be quite busy on that second race, but we won't talk about that. We'll focus on the positive, which all in all, we had a dry race. We had a dry race for once in the second race here, which is pretty good. And all in all, some great, just truly top stuff racing this evening. Great stuff to watch. Hopefully we'll have a few of the drivers joining us for interviews in a moment. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But goodness me, plenty of stuff to discuss, and plenty of good things to hold in the memory. As we have, unfortunately, a 2-week break between this round and our next round, which of course will be in the one, the only, the stunning Monte Carlo. So goodness me, 40 Formula Challenge cars around Monte Carlo. If you want to see that 2 weeks' time, same place, same time. And you will be able to join in there. So great stuff to keep an eye on, I'm sure. And Phil, any particular drives of the evening or of the race that you'd like to shout out here and now?
Well, I think Brugman has had a good evening. 16th to, was it 9th? And then a win second race. So he's not done too badly there, has he?
No, not at all. And actually, I think certainly a strong shout, strong candidate for driver of the evening is Epic's Wookie Hoekstra. First of all, stunning race through race one, coming home in P2. Was it in the end? Goodness me, I've forgotten. Yes, and well, recovered by the looks of it in race two, and pleased to say he now joins us now. So Whoopkie, congratulations on, I think it's fair to say, a pretty mad evening of racing. Great result for you in race one, and unfortunately a bit of drama in race two. But talk us through the evening. How did you find it?
Oh, well, it's amazing to get two good scoring points positions, and well, qualifying was pretty intense. I thought I had pole position, but then Eric Strong beat me by like 3,000 of a second. So that was that was kind of a shame because I never had pole in my life. And well, then race one had a pretty good start. Came in first, but I wasn't as quick as the other guys. But in the slipstream, I had great top speed, so I could still keep up with him, and got P2 in the end. After after going 3 wide on that final straight. Yeah, it was pretty intense, but I'm really happy with my first podium of the year. Race two, I think it was Eric Strong who started before the actual start, but I heard some engine noises, so I started too and got a penalty as well. But yeah, great recovery after that. Got held up by one back marker and couldn't get past Scott Beresford in the end, which is quite a shame, but oh well. Yeah, really happy overall.
Okay. Well, good stuff. And it was highly entertaining to watch, is what I'll say. And I'm pleased to say also joining us now in the commentary booth, we have Eric Strawn, who came home in P3 for the first race, and also a race winner from race one. And unfortunate did not finish retirement for Robert Weisemüller as well in race two. So, Robert, great race in race one. I mean, I just want to say thank you to all three of you, actually, while you're here. It was just amazing to watch, easily the best I've seen. So thank you for that. But talk us through your racing this evening, Rob, and obviously not definitely the outcome you're looking for there in race two.
Yeah, well, but first of all, let's focus on positives, I would say, because race one was really good. It was an extremely fair fight with Wopke and Eric in pretty difficult conditions as well. In the beginning, when it was just raining, it was fine, but then when the dry line started, it was quite difficult because the grid difference between online and off the line is quite high, and it's not as easily visible on this track as on some other tracks. But yeah, all of them did a great job, and I was really pushing. I really wanted to win a race from the challenge because I haven't got the win yet in an FC. So yeah, I tried hard, and yeah, it worked out. It was an amazing fight, really fair from both of them, and great finish. And I'm really happy with the win.
Good stuff. And also in the second race, unfortunately, as you say, let's focus on the positives. But what I will say a positive, at least from where I was at, great teamwork between yourself and your teammate Lars, working to try and keep Scott Beresford behind you. Was that a little bit of communication between yourselves, trying to keep yourselves organised and covering all the angles? Or was that just a bit of intuition between both of you?
Now we were talking to each other, and we're both quite experienced, so just trying, trying to box Scott in when he was getting the slipstream on the straight, and just take. I was never attacking Lars at all. I was just trying to maintain the 1-2 and control the race. And I was sure we get at least both a podium, and I was confident we could get a 1-2 at the end. And yeah, then I got taken out by a lap car. It's pretty ridiculous, but what can you do? It's not my fault in the end. So happy with my pace.
There you are. Unfortunate, definitely. But let's, as you say, focus on the positives. And as you say, great race in the first race, and I'm sure you'll bounce back next time even stronger. Another
thanks,
driver
guys.
joining us, thank you, Rob, is Eric Strawn. He was our championship leader coming into this. I'm pretty sure he's still our championship leader leaving this as well. Eric, as I was just saying to Rob and Whoopie, the first race was amazing. How did you find it, and how did you find approaching the challenge of Istanbul, particularly given that the weather was so variable?
I really don't like these mixed conditions. I just can't seem to find the same speed that Lars and Rob and other people can. So I mean, race one was going fine up until, I mean, halfway or something when it started drying up again and Andrew disappeared. So Bobke and Rob got free. Then I mean, I was just slower. I couldn't really do much, and they caught up, and I didn't want to fight them too hard because I knew there was a second race. Final corner seemed a bit strange. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but oh well, we'll see. Yeah, and just race 2, I just reacted to other lights in my room instead. Got a jump start. Then forgot it was a drive-through and stopped for tires and had to do a drive-through again. And yeah, not much fun stuff. Race 2.
Oh dear. Well, we're all human. We all do silly things. But there you are. You find yourself in a very strong position, though, it has to be said, so early on in the championship. Monte Carlo is next. A huge challenge. Are you now slowly start to turn your attention, both in obviously the teams and the drivers, thinking, okay, are we just going to go for consistent points finishes, or are you always going to be pushing for the ultimate win?
Well, it's changing now because before I could afford a DNF and still be in the lead. Now I have a 0 point in race 2, and I mean, like you said, I think I still have the lead, but I'm not quite sure. Well, actually, I think I do, but it's going to be close with Lars. So from now on, I'm now we're just going to go for wins and try to keep Lars behind us. And teams-wise, I mean, Jesper had a really bad round. He got spun around again, which is getting kind of old now, having your teammate being spun around all the time. So please leave him alone, everyone. But so now it's going to be close in teams as well. So now we have to really get going, sort of.
Well, it certainly leaves, at least from the neutral point of view, a stunning and very, very interesting championship to keep an eye on. So again, congratulations all three. Thank you very much for joining us. And we will look forward to seeing you all in action again in 2 weeks' time at the next round of the Formula Challenge from the wonderful, the fabulous Monte Carlo. Phil, it's a unique challenge, Monte Carlo, very different to what we've just seen. What are you thinking given tonight's racing? Do we think we're going to have those rolling the dice up at the casino, or are we going to have some nice tactical thoughts going forward?
Well, the weather kind of threw its hand down first race, which, like as they said, online offline would be interesting. Obviously, Monaco, the narrowest of narrow circuits, so it'll be. Hopefully, we won't have another race 2 incident because it's not very. There's not much runoff, and you can't really go round a car if it's sideways. So yeah, hopefully a safe race, more so than what we've seen this evening in the second race at least. But the first race was good.
Agreed, and yes, I'm sure we'll have more great racing in just a few short weeks' time. As I said before, well, first of all, thank you to everyone participating in Twitter. It's been great interacting with you guys, and if you want to keep an eye on all things GPVWC, head on over to the website, sign up, as I said before. Also, feel free follow the Twitter handle at GPVWC Live, so you can be informed of all the updates, latest and greatest from the racing as it happens. And as I mentioned a moment ago, we will be back for Formula Challenge in 2 weeks' time from Monte Carlo. We will, of course, have racing before then. We have Super Cup and Super League to follow tomorrow evening and on Thursday. And we'll have the WSS, ITC, and I believe World GT next week as well. So plenty of racing to be watching or partaking in, all happening here at the GPVWC. With that, my thanks to Phil and to Cam for superb work as always on cameras and on assisting me here in the broadcast. My thanks to all of the league sponsors, to Aurora Designs, Downforce Radio, Vodbull Motorsports, for all of their help in making this wonderful racing happen. And my thanks to you for joining us this evening. So with that, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in Monte Carlo.